Hello viewers and welcome to another match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today we enjoy a game sent in by our player positioned to the right. He is Christopher Dale Bates, and for today's game he's taking up the reins of our third Orks faction warlord, Gorzod. To the left sits his opponent, Mike Utenkov, whom instead is going to be playing as Archon Salaine Morn. Initiative resides with our Orks player, and Planet 1 is Iridial, the healing planet. Gorzod's first deploy action is to lay down a copy of the modified 2-cost Steel Legion Chimera at planet number 1. It's got a command icon, it's a 2/4, and whenever another non-vehicle trait unit at its same planet ends up being the recipient of an enemy attack, you decrease the total amount of damage dealt to it by 1. But on Archon Salaine Morn's side of the table at planet number 4, she lays down a copy of the 1-cost 2-command icon 2/2 warrior trait army unit Slith Mercenary. But at any point, as an action, your opponent can invest 2 resources into bribing that unit and immediately rendering it under his or her control. At planet number 2, we've actually got a couple interesting things going on. Archon Salaine Morn tosses out her first Kabalite. It's going to be a copy of the 1-cost 1/1 0-command icon Kabalite Halfborn. It's not going to be able to do anything in an economic sense, but whenever it happens to be leaving play, whether that's being destroyed, discarded, or being bounced back to hand, you do end up drawing 1 card. But immediately opposite, we've got a copy of the Orks army unit, the Shoot-A-Mob. It's also a cost of 1, but it's a 2/1, and importantly, it has a command icon, so it's potentially going to afford Gorzod the opportunity to win the 2-card bonus associated with that planet. We've got another copy of a Kabalite Halfborn at planet number 3, opposite a copy of Void Pirate, which is a 1-cost 1-command icon 0/1 with a convenient +1 card bonus. And just as I alluded to earlier, it looks like Chris actually purchases control of that Slith Mercenary at planet number 4 after his opponent has passed, and therefore cannot spend an additional action to potentially purchase that unit back. Both of our players are currently deciding where exactly they want to send their warlords. Note that that Kabalite Halfborn at planet number 3 was played at a red material type icon possessing planet, and therefore during our deploy phase, it did afford Archon Salaine Morn the opportunity to trigger her reaction and regain 1 resource after paying for that 1 resource Kabalite. Gorzod and Archon Salaine Morn both arrive at planet number 3. They're going to fight over Aatrox Prime. Planet number 1 is going to be a card, as we're resolving command struggles to the right for Gorzod. Planet number 2 is going to be another couple of cards for Gorzod. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource and an additional card for Gorzod. And planet number 4 is going to be a card and a resource, again, you guessed it, for Gorzod. Planet number 1 is going to be captured by Christopher Dale Bates. Iridial's ability is not going to have any eligible targets. There are no wounded units at present, and currently, we're going to see battle break out at planet number 3. Archon Salaine Morn herself is a 2/7. The same thing goes with Gorzod, but Gorzod is distinctly disadvantaged as we go into this combat here, because even though our 2 warlords are equally matched, the Kabalite Halfborn is going to be able to attack for 1, and of course Archon Salaine Morn herself, her signature army unit, the Shadowthorn's Pillagers, for the cost of 2, it's a 2/2 that you can ambush into play. And that could be a tremendous amount of damage being dealt out to Gorzod. But Gorzod took a swing. He ended up killing off that Kabalite Halfborn. It was destroyed. That means 1 card drawn for Archon Salaine Morn. And because she's playing Dark Eldar, quite clearly she might even be able to take advantage of a Klavex Warleader, and she does happen to have the resources for it. So Archon Salaine Morn did manage to deal 2 points of damage out to Gorzod. That is going to be a copy of my earlier mentioned Shadowthorn's Pillagers, 2-cost, 2/2, 1 command icon ambush keyword. It drops into play deployed at a red material type icon possessing planet. Therefore, during the combat phase, limit once per phase, Archon Salaine Morn regains 1 resource. So a 2/2 for the cost of 1 resource. It doesn't get much better than that. So the Shadowthorn's Pillager takes a swing. That's going to be 2 points of damage dealt out to Gorzod, which is what I would be saying if it was not for the copy of Daka discarded as a shield shield, we come to the end of a combat round, and now Christopher finds himself in a bit of a difficult position here. He can either stay with Gorzod, which it seems like he is doing, but if he does, yep, that's going to be a copy of Raid discarded, so 2-2 is of course 0, and now Gorzod is going to be standing to take a whole hell of a lot of damage, so it's going to be 2 damage dealt out by the copy of Shadowthorn's Pillager, and that could also be another couple of points of damage dealt to Gorzod, courtesy of Archon Salaine Morn. We've got a copy of Rock Bombardment discarded as shields, and that's maybe 2 out of 6 or 2 out of 9 2-value shield cards in Gorzod's deck, so we come to the end of a combat round, Gorzod retreats, and now what kind of sucks about this is Aatrox Prime is going to have the opportunity to fire at Christopher's HQ there, so that's going to be an additional point of damage to Gorzod. It's going to be a point of damage to the Steel Legion Chimera, and it's a destroyed copy of a Rickety War Buggy, which I didn't describe earlier, but I will in just a moment. We're in the process of going through our HQ phase. That's going to be 4 resources and 2 cards for each of our players. The initiative token is now going to be in the possession of Archon Salaine Morn. Note that each planet is oriented toward the player that will have initiative at it when it happens to be planet number 1, and regardless, we've now got that copy of the beautiful Team Covenant created initiative / first planet token taking up residence at our new first planet Boundless. That Rickety War Buggy that was destroyed, it's a pretty reasonably fantastic new vehicle unit. It's an Ork, so it doesn't benefit from Gorzod's printed cost reduction afforded to AM and SM faction vehicles, but for a 1-cost unit, it's a 3/1 with no command icons. It's got the Goes Fastest specialization, and whenever you have it at a planet and your opponent has initiative, provided you've got other units not named Rickety War Buggy at that location, it cannot be dealt damage by units. But of course, Aatrox Prime is not a unit, it's a planet, and as an inhabitant of the solar system, it was readily able to dispatch that HQ residence upping Rickety War Buggy there. So it was blasted into pieces. Planet number 2, we've got another copy of a Warrior trait unit. I don't think Kith has given away her alignment yet, whether it's Eldar or whether it's Chaos. So as a Warrior, Solarite of Vetus there is a 4-cost 1 command icon 2/4. It's got the flying keyword, and as a reaction, whenever it's dealt damage with an attack, afterward you deal 2 points of damage to its assailant. And I suppose, depending on how Archon Salaine Morn is allied, that could be an amazing recipient for a Shuriken Catapult, that new Eldar attachment for a cost of 2. You slap it on a warrior, you ambush it into play, and then Solarite of Vetus there could be a 5/4 flyer, but both of our players are deciding where exactly they want to send their warlords. Note that Chris has got a copy of Rogue Trader at our new planet number 5, Taurus. Archon Salaine Morn is going to arrive at planet number 1. Gorzod, rather dissimilarly, shows up at planet number 4, playing it a bit safe there. Planet number 1 is going to be a total of 2 cards won by Archon Salaine Morn. Planet number 2 is going to be a card and a resource for our Archon. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource for Chris. Note that he still controls that Slith Mercenary. Once you get that economy snowball going, it can be difficult to stop. Planet number 4 is going to be a total of 2 cards and a resource for Gorzod, and planet number 5 is going to be a card and 2 resources for Gorzod. So, Archon Salaine Morn has arrived at planet number 1. She herself is undamaged, but she's going to be dealing with that Shoot-a-Mob and a copy of the Frontline Ardboys. So the Frontline Ardboys are a 4-cost, 2 command icon 2/5, and whenever your opponent attempts to declare an attack, you can basically force the Frontline Ardboys to be the target. So that Shoot-a-Mob as a 2/1, it can potentially deal out quite a bit of damage to Archon Salaine Morn and her accompanying Kabalite Halfborn if we need not worry about that single hit point unit being handily destroyed. And there are, as of yet, no Kabalite Harriers or anything like that for the Archon to use to get rid of such a low hit point, albeit high damage output units. So at planet number 1, Archon Salaine Morn maintains initiative. She took a swing at the Frontline Ardboys. A copy of Squigify was discarded. That's going to be 3 2-shield value cards thus far discarded by Chris. Always a reasonable thing to keep a mental tally of while you're playing this game. Kabalite Halfborn is going to be destroyed by Shoot-a-Mob. That's going to be an additional card drawn by Archon Salaine Morn, as she certainly has a mitt full of cards indeed. Chris to the right there has got 4 resources at present, but I cannot cannot quite discern. It looks like it's going to be a total of, gosh, was that 6 resources for Archon Salaine Morn? It must have been. We've now got a copy of Shadowthorn's Pillagers played out to planet number 1. That is not a red planet, so there's not going to be any resource regaining to speak of. The frontline Ardboys are going to take 2 points of damage, and now what a better setup, okay, let me try again. That is a great setup for a Clavex War Leader. The frontline Ardboys is going to be destroyed, but I guess we do not... Okay, so we didn't have enough resources to play a Clavex War Leader. I was going to say there'd be no time like the present prior to it attacking. Frontline Ardboys takes a swing. Sowing Chaos was discarded as a shield. We come to the end of a combat round. Archon Salaine Morn's signature army unit is going to remain alive with just 1 hit point remaining. And at present, that's going to be 1 planet-type icon of each color in Chris's victory display. So Gorzod, if he manages to capture planet number 1, which is always a bit difficult, staring down a 2/7 enemy warlord, if he subsequently picks up planet 4, that could be the game for him there. Or if he wins planet 2 and 3, he could also win by that, or through really any number of different icons. So... just in taking a peek at Archon Salaine Morn's hand, she's got a copy of Inevitable Betrayal, her signature event. You play it for 2, and then any number of undamaged enemy army units, you basically treat them as though their text box were blank. So that may have been a devious way of getting around those frontline Ardboys, but of course at this point they're already wounded, so therefore they are no longer eligible. But we had come to the end of a combat round. Archon Salaine Morn says, no, I'm not going to retreat. Chris says, well, okay, I will retreat. Boundless's battle ability is going to be triggered. That's going to be a green planet added to the victory display of Archon Salaine Morn, and that's going to be a random card discarded from Chris's hand. It's going to be the Rickety War Buggy. So let us see here. We've also got a battle which is going to be taking place at Gorzod's planets. That is Planum, which is going to allow him to relocate one of his units to the planet of his choice. Looks like it's going to be that copy of the frontline Ardboys moved from his HQ to our now planet number 1 as we go into and resolve an HQ phase here. So our new 5th planet is going to be Eloith. It's the last planet that we're going to be seeing during today's game. It allows you to choose one of the top 3 cards of your deck to be added to your hand, and you place the remaining 2 on the bottom of your deck. That is some fantastic card advantage, and really, over the course of the game, the more battle abilities you can activate, the more free card effects that you're able to trigger with no, resource investment whatsoever. So, initiative is now going to be in the possession of Chris. He lays down a copy of an Assault Valkyrie at planet number 1. It's another vehicle that the currently not bloodied Gorzod is going to be able to play for a reduced cost. For the price of 3 resources, it's a 1 command icon 4/4 flyer. Solarite Avetus is a flyer herself, and it's not too often you actually see flying units opposite one another in this game. Our meta definitely does not favor using those in high numbers, and I've got to say this may actually be one of the only games on this channel out of nearly 175 or so commentated games which actually may feature a flying unit attacking another flying unit. So we're in for a bit of a rare treat, my gentlemen and gentle lady viewers. The Assault Valkyrie, if it takes a swing at Solarite Avetus, its attack damage is not going to be halved, and further, I guess unless Archon Salaine Morn uses a shield, then Solarite Avetus is just going to be outright killed, and only if Solarite Avetus survives an attack does she have the opportunity to trigger her reaction and deal out 2 points of damage to her assailant. And considering that the attacker in this case would have the flying keyword, anything you can do to get around the attack damage only incoming attack damage being halved, then that's just absolutely fantastic. So at planet number 1, we've got a copy of Hellion Gang. It's not a Kabalite, but it is a Raider, therefore it triggers Archon Salaine Morn's ability. For the net cost of 1 resource, it's a 2/2. It's another flying unit. My god, I guess we're just seeing those in droves today. It's got a command icon, so at present that's going to be 3 command icons relative to the 3 of Gorzod. But at planet number 1, we've got got one of our newest Astra Militarum faction army units. It's another vehicle, so for the modified cost of 1, it is the Orks APC. It's a 1 command icon 2/2 as a reaction whenever a combat round at a green strongpoint planet ends, you can move your Orks to that planet. So very interesting indeed. And we see one hell of a card. That is going to be the 3-cost signature support played out by Gorzod. Time to kick today's game into high gear, pardon the pun. It is the customization station, so every vehicle Gorzod controls loses its current faction affiliation, and it now counts as an orc, so it's eligible for battle cry, teleportapad, custom field generator, and most important of all, it gets a +1 attack, +1 hit point bonus. So the Orks APC at planet number 1 is going to be a 3/3 for 1 resource that's relocatable. Like hell if it goes into the HQ. If Gorzod shows up at a green planet, if there's a combat round that I guess comes to an end, Gorzod could even relocate it, so we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. And of course that Assault Valkyrie is going to be a 5/5, and that makes it all the less likely that Solarite Vetus will be able to weather that storm there. But Gorzod arrives at planet number 1. He brings with him a copy of the ubiquitous Shoot-'em-Mob, or the illustrious Shoot-'em-Mob. It's probably not played by everyone. And then planet number 3 is going to be Archon Salaine Morn showing up to murder that Void Pirate. So planet number 1, we've got a grand total of 1 Warlord presence. That means it's going to be a card and a resource for Gorzod. Planet number 2 is going to be a card and a resource for that Slith Mercenary owned by Gorzod. That is just definitely paying off. Definitely a good move, purchasing control of that. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource for Archon Salaine Morn. Planet number 4 is going to be a card and 2 resources for Gorzod. And planet number 5, thanks to a Void Pirate, is going to be a total of 3 cards for Gorzod. So Gorzod is probably going to have a whole hell of a lot of shield cards working in his advantage. The Assault Valkyrie swings for 5, and that is going to be a very dead copy of... I actually missed what that unit was. It was not a Shadowed Thorns Pillager, so whatever it happened to be, it is now very much destroyed. So my apologies there, but Solarite Vetus is going to have an opportunity to take an attack here. Note that she's only going to be attacking for 2, but there are a large number of targets at this planet. Well, there's one Clavex Warleader eligible already damaged target, which is the Frontline Ardboys, but the Frontline Ardboys, they're already damaged, but they basically play the game where your opponent has to declare them as the defender. So they're able to protect Gorzod, they're able to protect the Assault Valkyrie. We could see a Clavex Warleader dropped into play now to destroy the Frontline Ardboys, but then you don't have the maximum possible benefit of waiting until the very end of the combat round and then dropping them into play, killing something, and then being able to attack immediately. The Shadowed Thorns Pillager deals a point of damage, only 1 point of damage, thanks to a timely promotion discarded by Gorzod, and now the Orks APC is busting onto the scene and seeing if it can run one of these Dark Eldar units over. It does manage to successfully drive onto the Shadowed Thorns Pillager. Perhaps it drives up onto a cliff and launches itself off, and then manages to hit right on target and just smash the Raider into the ground. It explodes catastrophically. Hopefully it didn't damage the Sarlacc, and that is going to be a dead DE unit. Solarite Vetus deals 1 point of damage to the Frontline Ardboys thanks to another discarded copy of Promotion, and let's see how much damage the Solarite happens to take. We've got a copy of Inevitable Betrayal discarded as a shield. And let us see here. We've got a copy of Warp Storm currently being resolved. We see Outflankum discarded to prevent the bloodying of Gorzod, and this is going to be 2 points of damage dealt to each and every Orc unit that does not currently possess an attachment. It does also, okay, so it looks like that Orks APC must have been dealt some damage by Solarite Vetus' attack because it is destroyed by the Warp Storm. Gorzod is going to use his action to retreat. The Assault Valkyrie has taken 2 points of damage, and perhaps we're still waiting on the resolution of some of these effects, because I was thinking that the Frontline Ardboys, yes, would presumably be destroyed. So what sucks about this battle right now is Archon Salaine Morn. If you look, if Mike shifts his hand, he's got a copy of Clavex Warleader in hand. He's also got 4 resources, and that would be a great opportunity for him to just obliterate this copy of Assault Valkyrie. at planet number 1, and if he's going to be able to pick up that planet, he'll be able to fire Aatrox Prime and potentially bloody Gorzod, who's currently sitting at just 1 hit point remaining, because Aatrox Prime can target the enemy HQ. We do see that copy of Clavex Warleader after, interestingly enough, after, I guess, neither player decided to retreat from that planet. Aatrox Prime fires at the HQ of Gorzod, and we see another copy of Outflankum discarded as a shield. So Solarite of Vetus and the Clavex Warleader both bounce to Mike's HQ. He adds a red and a blue icon to his victory display, and now Archon Salaine Morn at planet number 3, who arrived with a copy of Shadowthorn's Pillager, she takes a swing, kills off that Void Pirate, Planum activates, and that's going to be Solarite of Vetus moved, courtesy of Planum, to what is soon to be our planet number 1. So we had come to the end of a combat round at planet 3, and that would give Archon Salaine Morn an opportunity to retreat with her Shadowthorn Pillager if she would like, or she could otherwise leave it sitting at that planet to potentially win command for her. And I think if it were me, not that I know what Mike's strategy is necessarily, but I think if it were me, I'd leave it sitting at that planet ready with a command icon position there to just try to prevent Gorzod from winning a little bit of command for once during this game. Like, Archon Salaine Morn is doing just fine, but still, the more economy you can earn, the better. We've got another HQ phase coming and going. It's going to be 4 resources and 2 cards for each of our players. And now let us see here. It's going to be 1 planet type icon in either player's victory display. Archon Salaine Morn is going to be advantaged at planet number 1 because she's got initiative. She's presumably going to be able to attack with Solarite of Vetus. She might be able to kill off that copy of the Slith Mercenary or simply purchase it, depending on how things go. And, I guess if she wins our first planet, if she wins our second planet, then she's going to be able to win the game here. At planet number 1, we've got a copy of the signature army unit of Gorzod. It's going to be a copy of the Gorzod's Wagons. So it's going to be a 2-cost 1/3. It's got a command icon, and it's also got the Goes Fasta specialization, where when your opponent happens to control the initiative token, it gets a +2 attack value bonus. And considering that there's also the customization station in play, it gets a further +1 attack and +1 hit point. And I normally don't do this, but I just took the opportunity to check that card, and yes, for the cost of 2, it does have a command icon. Currently, because Archon Salaine Morn has initiative, it's got a +2 attack value bonus. It's got its default 3 hit points. Because it's a vehicle, customization station is basically going to assist it in being a 2-cost 4/4 right now, which is just absolutely absurd, but therein lies the power of Gorzod. So, at planet number 4, we've got a fascinating new Dark Eldar unit. It's going to be another Cabalite played at a red planet, so it's going to refund 1 resource to Archon Salaine Morn, and it looks like Gorzod's not out of this quite yet. So, that Dying Sun Marauder at planet 4 is going to be a 2-cost, no command icon unit, but it's a 2/3, and whenever you gain resources, you ready it. So therefore, it's a fantastic recipient of the Bladed Lotus Rifle, and I guess that attachment would give it +1 attack and ranged, and if you attack during the ranged skirmish round and then you play raid, you steal 1 resource from your opponent, which involves you gaining a resource, then you can ready it, and you can fire again, and then you can drop a Shadowthorn Pillager into play, you gain another resource, you fire again. It's a pretty damn crazy unit, or it shows up in your Warlord retinue exhausted during the command phase. You win a resource from a struggle, and then it readies. So a strong unit indeed, albeit with no command icons. At planet number 1, we now have a second copy of an Assault Valkyrie, and I guess now there's an ammo depot taking up a residence in Christopher Dale Bates's HQ. So that's a 1-cost Orc support, which you can exhaust whenever you hit 3 or fewer cards in hand, and then you immediately draw 1 card for yourself. Okay, so I was wondering if that was a copy of Raid that we saw earlier during this turn. We did see a copy of Raid played by Mike. That's going to be -1 resource for Chris, +1 resource for Mike, contingent upon your being able to play it only if you control fewer resources than your opponent. We had momentarily seen a promotion affixed to that Dying Sun Marauder, which would have meant it would have had 2 command icons equivalent to the Rogue Trader plus Steel Legion Chimera sitting opposite, but both of those are limited keyword cards, and of course you are limited to 1 limited keyword card per turn, so it definitely makes sense to have that restriction on those powerful and free cards. And now let's see what exactly we've got going on. So there's going to be a Void Pirate at planet number 4 by Chris. There's a Rogue Trader for Chris. Chris is currently positioned to be likely winning command at 3 of these planets. The interesting thing is if Archon Salaine Morn shows up at planet number 1, she's going to basically guarantee that the Gorzod's wagons are going to be a 4/4 unit, but if Gorzod shows up at planet number 1, he's not only really going to risk bloodying, but he's going to basically decrease the attack value of his wagons by 2. So Gorzod could stand to show up at planet, I guess, 4, just to make sure that he maintains that card bonus, or he could arrive at Taurus. I guess for unit counts, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by Archon Salaine Morn, and we've got a whole hell of a lot more than 6 controlled by Gorzod. Gorzod arrives at planet number 3, and Archon Salaine Morn arrives at, planet 2, and Archon Salaine Morn also arrives at planet number 2. Neither player is going to win a command struggle at that planet. A Chaos-aligned Archon Salaine Morn cannot play Superiority, although as a divisive card, I don't think it's a guarantee that Mike would run it in any case. But planet number 1, that is going to be a total of 4 command icons, meaning it's going to be a card and resource for Gorzod. Planet number 2 is going to be nothing for either player. Planet number 3 is definitely going to be a couple of resources and 1 card for Gorzod, and ever playing the economy game, as is our Orc faction known for. Sarcasm. That's going to be 3 total cards for Christopher Dale Bates. So things are about to get pretty interesting. Planet number 1 is going to be of paramount importance because it's going to put either of our players just 1 planet color icon away from winning the game. The initiative possessing Archon Salaine Morn, whom only has 2 resources, which is not enough for a Clavex war leader, is going to be directing an attack of the Hellion Gang, presumably at the Assault Valkyrie, because it's going to be a flyer attacking a flyer, and therefore you're not going to cut its damage output in half. So we've got another copy of Warp Storm in Archon Salaine Morn's hand. Yes, it is the Assault Valkyrie that is the target. Do we have another 2-value shield card for Chris, or do we not? It's just going to be 1 point of damage. Okay, yep, so there's the correct amount of damage dealt to that unit because they're both flyers, and that may be achievement unlocked for this channel. Ouch, that about sucks. That is the Slith Mercenary purchased by Archon Salaine Morn, and now are we going to see it purchased back by Chris or not? If Chris does purchase it, he'll be able to attack with it. But he may need those 3 resources for something like, I guess, a rock bombardment or outflank him. I guess if he invests 2 in the Slith Mercenary, he could still purchase and outflank him. So that's going to be the Assault Valkyrie attacking for 5. That's a dead Solarite Vetus, and there you go, Chris. You've purchased control of that Slith Mercenary. Yeah, I was going to say, don't attack with the Slith Mercenary, you silly sir. That's going to be Gorzod's wagons attacking for 4, cut in half to 2. Do we see a shield card played, or are we instead going to see a dead Hellion Gang? What's important about planet number 1 is it's Karnath, so it's going to allow Gorzod to pick any planet in play to trigger its ability. He could trigger Planum, and that would involve him moving his Assault Valkyrie over to planet number 2. What definitely kind of sucks for Gorzod is at present Archon Salaine Morn has the initiative, and she's going to be able to attack for 2 at Gorzod, and unless Gorzod has a 2 or 3 shield value card in hand, then Gorzod's kind of out of luck if he's wanting to avoid being bloodied, and then he's going to lose his discount on playing any Space Marine or Astra Militarum faction vehicles. And of course, you're at a much greater risk of having your Warlord being destroyed, and if that's the case, then you immediately stand to lose the game. So what exactly are we going to see? Elowith is what's triggered, so that's going to be the choice of 3 cards for Chris. Maybe he was digging for a 2 or 3 value shield card. I suppose we'll have to see what ends up being the case, but grats to Chris. That's going to be a red and a blue icon added to his victory display. Perhaps he'll have built up sufficient mass that he's going to be able to win at our soon-to-be planet number 1 the following game round. But let's see how exactly this combat is going to play out. Is Gorzod going to be able to resist being bloodied or not? Kith, I guess, is going to be able to move her Dying Sun Marauder from planet 3 to planet 2, should she win that battle, but she's setting herself up reasonably well to win. Like she's just got a lot of units in play. But we do see Rock Bombardment discarded as a shield. Gorzod avoids being bloodied by that Shadowthorn Pillager, and he retreats as his combat turn. Archon Salaine Morn kills that Rogue Trader, and do we see that Dying Sun Marauder moved or not? This is the victory condition planet for Chris, but bear in mind we know that there's a promotion in the hand of Mike that he erroneously attempted to play. So are we going to see the Dying Sun Marauder move or not? It all depends on how risky Mike is willing to be. If Mike picks up Planet 1, we could potentially see Gorzod win at Planet 2, and that would be a rather sneaky way for Chris to end up winning this game. He'd be able to drop off all of those units. He's got the customization station out, and he's got one more round worth of Gorzod not being bloodied, at least, to avail himself of that resource reduction effect for his non-orc faction vehicles in hand. And then once they hit the tabletop, they become orcs and they get the customization station bonus. So let's see, what is the outcome of today's match going to be? I think it could easily go to either player. We've gone through potentially our second to last HQ phase. I don't imagine that Chris is going to be able to win the game this round, so let's just call it 4 resources and 2 cards for each of our players, and now it's going to be the initiative in, okay, maybe I'm wrong, so maybe it's going to be Gorzod going for planet number 1. Gorzod tosses out his 3rd copy of the Assault Valkyrie at planet number 1. We've got a copy of Promotion, a no-cost deploy stall, now affixed to that Dying Sun Marauder. Also at planet number 1, god damn, Chris Bates, you've now got a copy of Steel Legion Chimera, which is a 3/5 for the cost of 2, and it still continues to decrease the damage dealt to non-vehicles at its planets. And if you can bait your opponent into attempting to destroy Gorzod through attacks, if you've got some shield cards in hand, you can, trick your opponent into wasting a lot of attack value dealt out to you. Archon Salaine Morn has not been doing great in regard to economy over the course of this game, and therefore Clavex Warleader is not going to be the most frightening card in the world. Are you going to put out economy units now? What are you going to do, Archon Salaine Morn? I guess the answer is not put out economy units, but that Clavex Warleader, by the way, is a 4-cost, 2 command icon, 3/3, so that is going to be 2 command icons at planet number 1 relative to the 3 command icons for our DE player. Gorzod arrives at planet 2, and this is where things are going to get pretty interesting. So Archon Salaine Morn, old habit there, is going to be not favorably positioned at planet number 1, and if Chris wins at planet number 1, he is going to come in like a veritable wrecking ball and ruin Archon Salaine Morn's party. So whether or not my girl likes to party all the time, Archon Salaine Morn might end up having to leave early. I guess let's call it a card and a resource at planet number 1 for Archon Salaine Morn. Planet number 2, that is most definitely not going to be anything for either player, and then that's going to be another 3 cards, potentially shields, added to the hand of Mr. Bates at planet 1. Archon's Terror is still a thing, and that means that Assault Valkyrie, that 5/5 flyer, is immediately going to be removed from planet number 1, and that is a little bit heartbreaking because now it's going to be rather difficult for the 3/5 Steel Legion Chimera by itself to end up winning at that planet. It's not going to be impossible by any means, but it definitely did just become much more difficult. It's going to take a swing at the Shadowthorn's Pillager to go for the nearly guaranteed kill. We don't see a 3 shield card played, and that is going to be a dead Shadowthorn Pillager. So here's what we see here. If we have a whole hell of a lot of shield cards in Chris's hand, he could still win this planet. He killed that 2-1 controlled by his opponent. He's now got an attack of 3 coming in. Squig Bombing is going to be discarded, so that's only going to be 2 points of damage dealt to the Steel Legion Chimera, and of course our opponent does not have a sufficient number of resources for a Clavax Warleader. I imagine Chris checked the discard pile a moment ago to see if Shadowthorn's Pillagers may or may not be a thing. I forget how many copies are left in our Archon deck, but it's probably statistically unlikely that she's got any in hand. I cannot quite tell. So Steel Legion Chimera is going to have an opportunity to attack first, but it's only going to be able to do so for 3. Is the Clavax Warleader destroyed? No, of course not. That's going to be a copy of Gut and Pillage discarded as a shield. So that's going to be a new... Okay, yeah, there we go. That about sucks. That's going to be the Blood Runner, the signature attachment, discarded as a shield. Clavax Warleader was not destroyed, but then again, neither is the Steel Legion Chimera. We're going to come to the end of a combat round, and now this is going to be a real tricky proposition here for Archon Salaine Morn. If she retreats, okay, that is actually kind of bizarre, I guess. Is that happening at Planet 1, or that's super weird? So Warp Storm ends up getting played at Planet number 1, and God, that was such a waste in my mind. Like, it's 2 points of damage to each present enemy unit. Why on earth would you not play that at Planet number 2? But regardless, the Clavax Warleader is destroyed. We see a copy of Hostile Acquisition discarded as a shield. Gosh, I guess that's going to be 1 point of damage dealt to the Steel Legion Chimera. Now Planum is going to be won by Chris. That's going to be a green and a blue planet type icon added to his victory display. And I guess that is going to be the game right there. So I guess I had lost track of our planet type icons because that's the GG right there. So kind of an unusual end. I apologize for being so hyper-focused on planet number 2, but that is the game having wrapped up at planet number 1. So the Steel Legion Chimera manages to stand alone. The Clavax Warleader is destroyed, and your ability to take a combat turn at planet number 1 means that you win the game. So Archon Salaine Morn managed to arrive at planet number 2, and unfortunately that was not her opponent's victory condition. So again, I apologize, my dear viewers, for the oversight on my part, spacing that planet number 1 was the victory condition planet. So it looked like Gorzod was able to do the conservative thing. He was going to set himself up at planet number 2 just in case his opponent didn't block him from winning at planet number 1. So he was able to play the smart game that Archon's Terror was not able to beat him. And despite Archon Salaine Morn's best efforts, she was not able to block off the victory of Chris. So, congratulations to Chris. A huge thanks again to him for sending in today's footage, but very well played all the same by Mike Utenkov. So, I very much hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I apologize for my spacing planet number 1. I definitely was not predicting that Chris would be able to win on that planet. But, as always, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, or if you are already subscribed, as ever, you're encouraged to share this content, because the more engagement these videos receive, the more individuals end up stumbling upon Conquest LCG. They might give this game a try, join our living card game community, and of course, the greater we are in number, the bigger message we send to Fantasy Flight Games, telling them to continue to support this fantastic product. If at any point you'd like to get in touch with me, I would encourage you to do so through Facebook or on Twitter, and if you yourself are a content creator, then I definitely recommend you contact me, just because I would love to help promote your content, and as always, I endeavor to continue to attempt to draw more players to Conquest LCG. If you ever feel inclined to help give back to the Hive Tyrant, I would be honored, humbled, and deeply appreciative were you to consider making a donation to my Patreon, as each and every dollar helps me to recover my file hosting and operating expenses, and then each and every additional invested cent is just all going to go to helping to improve the audio and video quality of this channel. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, be sure to check back in again soon for much more Conquest LCG content to come.